I wasn't going to be knocking my head against a brick wall trying to be something that I really can't really be.
Okay, so welcome back to the Fantom podcast, and this is episode 7. And today I have a very, very special guest, and someone I sort of looked up to when I first started training, and a top bodybuilder from Scotland that was notoriously known for his condition, always placing like top Nabba Universe, the British Championships. We have Stevie Creighton. Steve, welcome to the Fantom podcast.
Hi, Simon. Thanks very much for the nice intro and the nice welcome.
I mean, I have done research about you, but I'd rather you sort of talk about how you got into training and stuff. So I've got a few questions. So thanks for taking time out today. I know we're all busy. We got there eventually. We'd had a few of the hiccups earlier on, but we got there eventually. So let's go back to the start. What got you into bodybuilding? Well, what got into training? What got you to the gym?
Wow. I stumbled. I was doing when I was in the army. I was out jogging with one of my friends. I was in the army actually at the time. I was stationed in Celle, West Germany, and I was like a fitness fanatic back then. We were doing everything for fitness and jogging, and we stumbled upon this fitness center.
So how old was you then?
18, 19. 85. I was only 23.
Okay.
23. Yeah, very young. Yeah. We stumbled upon this fitness centre and we decided to go in and have a wee look. We scrapped the jogging, the last mile we had to do, and I had a wee look. And wow, we met this bodybuilder. My German wasn't so good back then either, because we'd only been over there about a year. And the guy he must have had like 20-inch arms. He was a real freak. And
so before that, had you ever been to a gym before? Had you ever done any weight training before?
I kind of messed around a wee bit with weights, but when I joined up, I was only 17 when I joined up, and we were told to. I put my hand up to volunteer for boxing training, because that way you get off polishing the brassies, and in the mornings you get off. Wednesday night we had cleaning night, so we would get to go jogging or training. But the weights it was really just an old multi-gym that we had back then. I mean, back in the early 80s. Or mid 80s. So yeah, it was just like multi-gym style training, and the diet was just, didn't really know anything about a good diet back then. So we learned all that after that.
So you started you said in Germany, like this fitness gym.
Yeah. So that would have been going back to now around about 1980. 485, a long time ago.
You said you met this guy with 20-inch arms. Don't you think back then when you're younger, everyone looks bigger? Everyone's got 20-inch arms when you're small and skinny.
That's true, Si, but this guy actually was one of the very few real freaky, especially back in that time.
Yeah.
He was actually just a freak that was put there to, I mean,
do you remember his name?
Or something.
Do you remember his name?
No, I don't,
Okay.
Si. No. Just knew he was a German guy. He couldn't really communicate very well with us, but I think he let us see his arms. I couldn't even take it in. He looked so massive.
So was that the first time you sort of seen like a proper bodybuilder in person?
Yeah, I had been reading the magazines and stuff, and it was like reading them from cover to cover, looking for secrets and stuff. But
so you was aware of bodybuilding and the physiques back then, like who was doing and stuff like that.
I mean, my training had a bull worker, when when the bull workers.
Yeah.
So
for your shoulders and chest.
It's isotonics and isometrics we've done in this, but just had little arms and very you would think this guy's getting myself. He's getting no potential to go anywhere. If I put some pictures of how I looked back then, but and it was the same. I think when we went into that gym, I mean, I was able to jog and commit myself to doing miles every day and training, but you didn't get a chance to carry that around with you. And what kind of appealed to me about bodybuilding was all those hours of discipline and training and hard work. You actually get to take that around with you.
Yeah, you can see the results, can't you?
You're carrying it everywhere. And that really appealed to me, and especially when bodybuilding, it's like you get the whole body. So yeah, that really appealed to me.
So when did you do your first show then, Steve?
Yeah, it was a year later. So this must have been around about 84.
Okay.
Because I know I'd done my first show after just a short training period. It was 1985 was the first time I competed. It would have been the fall of 95.
Was that in UK, was it? Scotland?
No, I was actually stationed in Germany still, over in Celle. And I went on the diet that I knew how to diet back then. And I'd done a first-timer show. I think there was 18 of us in the lineup. And one of the guys had competed before, but that's neither here nor there. It was supposed to be.
He wasn't a first-timer.
Noiling, as they call it over there. It's first-timers.
Okay.
And I was really, 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 I was blown away. I remember hitting a double bicep, and I heard like lots of clapping. And I'm like, wow, these people clapping at me? No way. And it just felt really good. And yeah, just to place third in my first show. I was like,
18 people in the first time, that is quite a big class. I mean, you don't see that nowadays.
Yeah.
Third out of 18. So there's no height. It was just one class. So it could have been like 90 kilos, 80 kilos, you could have been 100 kilos. You're also, it's the best man wins at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, aye. And yeah, that's right, Si. Aye.
And can you remember sort of preparing for that show? Did you sort of follow a strict diet, or did you have any sort of guide you back then?
Yeah, not really, Si. Back then, my diet was strict, that I knew how, but
yeah.
I was like, I remember eating all bran and all sorts of. There's so many things I didn't know.
Yeah,
that I learned later.
That's part of the fun, is it? Especially when I, like yourself, when I started competing, it's learning the process and seeing what works for you. And but I think nowadays everything's sort of, I wouldn't say it's too easy, but everything's laid out for you. Which I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but bodybuilding is a very sort of individual journey, and it's something you have to find out yourself.
I would agree with that, Si. Yeah, your own trial and error on yourself. I think that's like you say, I think that's priceless. Yeah, what you learn about your own body. Aye.
You got to do it yourself. Yeah.
Aye,
so after that first timer's show, what did you do after that? Did you after that, or did you have time off to improve?
Well, not a lot. I mean, I kind of got the bug in 1985, so. 1986, I was still in the army, still training, growing quite quickly. Quite quickly. I thought I was growing quickly if I put on a few pounds.
Can you remember what you weighed in for your first show?
Oh, I was like a very light middleweight, like 72 kilos or something, maybe. Very light, yeah. I off the top of my head, anyway. So I competed the following year. We moved to Dortmund, actually, from Celle. We moved to Dortmund, and I done the Mr. Dortmund for the first time. And I remember this guy, he was a big guy, big lumpy guy, and he won. Michael Neuser, his name was. Someone else slid in behind him in second, and I got third at the Mr. Dortmund. So
again.
That was my second show. Yeah. So and I decided I'm going to win this show the following year. I'm going to take the Mr. Dortmund. I'm going to win it. I want to be Mr. Dortmund. I'm living in Germany. I love Dortmund. I love the German people. I love the gyms. I've got great friends over there to this day. And so the following year, I went back to 1987, and I managed to win. I won a bigger show a week before the Mr. Dortmund.
It was like a warm-up show, was it?
Yeah, I was training the guy who Winfried Modena, his name is. He the last time I spoke with him, he was judging at the Mr. Olympia. So he had a lot of knowledge, and he taught us how to pose, and he taught us so many things. But he recommended that we go in for a show a week before the Mr. Dortmund just to try it. And this was the Mr. Ostwestfalen, and I was like blown away. I didn't really know how I looked compared with other guys, but that was a bigger, it was a bigger show. And when I won that, I was just like, I was shaking my head saying, wow, they've given me this trophy. I won. Wow.
You've got to be good. you've got
yeah,
to have something.
yeah. So people were saying, yeah, he's going to win the Mr. Dortmund. He's. But I did peak. The good thing was I'd done the trial show and I took it, and I was like blown away that I came first at a show. And then the following week the Mr. Dortmund came along. I did peak, and I was like 73 kilos maybe. But I was really cut.
For the first show, you didn't bother doing like a carb load to peak. You just ran into it.
For the first one, I had no knowledge of exactly, Si. You've nailed it there. The second one, I didn't actually know what I was doing either.
No, I meant the second show that you did on the third time round. You said you did the show the week before. Did you aim? You didn't aim to peak for that one. You just did. You just turn up for it.
Oh yeah. Just what I done for that one was I had more knowledge by that time on how to diet. In 1987, that was. I had more knowledge on how to diet for that time anyway. And I applied a lot more knowledge and put that into practice with a really good diet, 6 meals a day, and proper preparation. But like anabolics and stuff, I was taking nothing. I mean, really nothing. The show the week before, the only thing that I didn't do was the thing with the water and the sodium. That's the thing. I just went the way I looked on that day, and it worked okay.
Yeah, I've always found my experience, people mess around with sodium and water too much, and they end up restricting too many things and looking worse on competition day, especially sodium and water, which are vital to sort of carbing up and looking nice and full. But so after that, what happens? Did you sort of you got the bug for it after winning the Mr. Horton show?
Yeah, the Ostwestfalen. A week later, it was 16th of May, I think I won the Dortmund. And then the 24th of May, I came back and done my first show in Scotland, and I won the Mr. West of Scotland. So that was good. I was got 3 firsts, and it was then that I decided, they kept
what federation was that back then? The Mr. Scotland.
Oh, it was affiliated to the IFBB, but it was over in Germany. So I'm not sure the name of the federation, but it was affiliated.
There's nothing to do with the EFBB, was it?
No, nothing to do with the EFBB. No, it's just that.
So could you have got your pro card through the Scottish Federation?
Well, this was still in Germany where I was competing. So there's no pro card back then for, you'd have to go to the British Championships and take the overall. And
did you even think about Did you even think about aiming for a pro card, or was you just still early in your career?
I was just enjoying, getting up on stage and competing. I never really, thought that I would ever,
because 87. I'm trying to think who was British champion 87. I know Dorian was British champion 88, wasn't he? So it was around Dorian's era.
What's his name? That little guy, Chris Hoskins.
Chris Hoskins. He got pro card 86. I'm trying to think. Yeah, 87. I'm not sure. Yeah, people like Ian Harrison.
87. Wow, we're going back.
Eddie Edward, people like that. Yeah, they were early 90s. Yeah, bring some more names back.
Yeah, we're going backside there. Yeah.
Yeah, they were good old days.
Aye.
So so did you move back to Scotland because you had your own gym, didn't you, Steve?
Aye, so we'll fast forward a number of years. I competed a number of times in Germany. I managed to make the top 10 a few times at the International Mr. Germany, and then 1988, I think it would be 88. I left the army in 86.
Okay.
No, 88. Yeah, so I would have come back home in 1989 because I just felt like an Auslander, they call it. Like I shouldn't be living in Germany for so long. So I came back home for a few months in 1990. It was the fall of 1990, and I took the overall at Mr. Scotland that year. Yeah.
Okay.
And I managed to compete in the British Championships, and I placed 6th in my first go as a middleweight.
That was the EFBB British Championships.
Aye, that's right. That was it.
Okay. Trying to think who won the overall that year. Was it Ian Hobson?
I think it was Ian. Yeah, it was. I get mixed up because I'd done 2 years in a row.
Okay.
But I remember the guys then. I was like looking. I'm like, oh, the difference between me and these guys is these guys are cut to the bone. They're shredded, and I felt, oh, I'm not getting call-outs, but I knew why, because my condition wasn't like it should be. Yeah, that's I felt.
So you were probably what was your like mid-20s then, sort of?
1990. So yeah, I'm still getting on a wee bit. I think I was about 28. Yeah, I would have been about 28.
So, yeah, because your condition and maturity doesn't show for into your sort of 30s, does it? Bodybuilding. When you're in your 20s, you still got fresh muscle.
Aye.
Yeah. So you placed 6th at the middleweights at the British in 1990, and did you carry on competing year after that, or did you sort of take time out? Because when I saw you compete, you were at heavyweights. I think this was 2000. So you've obviously went up from middleweight, light heavyweight to heavyweight. It took a few years.
I'm just thinking about the time we've got here outside. We've got about an hour, haven't we? So
no, we got as long as you want. I mean,
I'm thinking, what am I going to say? I was nervous, but I forgot we're talking about bodybuilding. And
yeah. Well, just go, just
relax. Just need to relax.
Enjoy it. This is about you.
Okay, Si, yeah, I'd rather be talking about you, Si, but
no one wants to hear about me.
So 1990, December the 31st, I remember packing my bags and I went over to California to live.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I have seen some pictures of you with some of the pros back then. Yeah. So did you go to like Gold's Gym sort of to train?
Yeah. This is a good one for you, Si. Here's a good story. I've not really shared this with many people. That's a good one.
So you went New Year's Eve, 1990. You say to America?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you just decided I'm going to go, and
yeah, my friend from Germany. I'd gone back to Scotland for a few months, and we'd be communicating from Germany. And he had been there once, and he said, "Oh, Stephen, it's even better than in the magazines. Your palm trees, your bodybuilding, it's the Mecca." I was like, "Oh, Thomas, if I go over there, I think I want to come back." I said so. So I was like, I just cashed in my life insurance policy, and I sold my wee Suzuki GP 100U, my wee motorbike, and just different wee things. I had a little bit of money, not much. I had enough to go to.
And did you know anyone there?
What's that, Si?
Did you know anyone there when you arrived?
Gary Stridham.
Gary, yeah.
Aye, yeah, Gary.
I keep in touch with Gary actually. He lives in Thailand now, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, aye. I mean, I'm not in touch with him anymore, Si, but Gary's a real legend, isn't he?
I actually flew out to Thailand a few years ago to meet him. We went out one night.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Right. Aye.
So you met Gary. So did you know Gary before, or did you meet him sort of?
I don't know if Gary remembered, but I'm sure he did. I'm sure he remembered. I had pumped him up backstage.
Okay.
He was doing a guest spot in Germany, and I'd helped pump him up, warm him up, and everything. And he's obviously remembered because when I went over to LA, I hadn't been there that long, and I was walking to the gym from our apartment, and Gary seen me. He actually turned around, came back, picked me up, and took me to the gym, and we trained a couple of times. And I thought, that's really nice.
Yeah,
it's really. So he's a real gentleman, even when I was over there, he always told me to go over and see his clothing line and come visit him. But I never ever did. I never.
Okay. Yeah. So did you like base yourself at Gold's Gym then in Venice?
Yeah, Gold's in Venice. I had a friend who had won the Joyce Frame. Her name is. She had won the overall at the Scottish. I think it was either a year before me, maybe in 1989, and she worked in a gym in San Diego. But I knew I wanted to be at the Mecca. I wanted to be at Gold's in Venice. I didn't want to be in San Diego. So Yeah, back to my friend Thomas, who we got a wee apartment we rented out between us with the money that we had, and we got a hire car for a couple of weeks. And Thomas had lost his confidence a wee bit, so he disappeared with the car, and I was left thinking, okay, I've got double rent to pay now. Yeah, like you need to transport. It's a big place. So, yeah, I just got this old Chevrolet Monte Carlo. It was on sale down the street from where I was staying. I was like, okay, $600 or something. Yeah, something like that. So I'm like, so I got the car, and I actually slept in my car for 8 weeks in Gold's Gym parking lot.
I couldn't afford rent. How did it feel training at Gold's Gym compared to where you were training before in Scotland? I mean, I've been to Gold's Gym a few times, and it's obviously not in the 90s, but it's such a big gym, isn't it? And you've got so many top professional bodybuilders training out there. Totally different. Did you find it hard to train there, because there's a lot of distractions there?
Yeah, definitely. I like
smaller, more intimate gyms where you sort of probably like a tenth of the size of that. I found it. You're looking around for equipment and different machines, and the place is huge, isn't it? Gold's Gym.
It's massive, It's massive, and I think they've got an outdoor part to it now. There is
outdoor, yeah.
So hopefully I'll get my visa stamped soon, and I can go visit. I think it's second or third on my list of places to go.
I'm going to America Monday, actually.
Okay.
I'm off on Monday. I'm going to Vegas for 3 days, and I'm going to Dallas, Texas for 4 days. I'm going to do some gym tours over there. And
right, you're going to go see Ronnie, Dallas, Texas? Is that?
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I'm going to train at Metroflex. I went there exactly 10 years ago at last 2012. Me and Blex Lewis went trained there. So
wow.
Hopefully Ronnie's there. I know Ronnie because Ronnie's trained at my gym. So I heard he trains at stupid early times. So hopefully, I'll try and meet him.
Try and catch him. Yeah, it'll be hot over there. Is it hot?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's about 40 odd degrees.
Whoa. Wow.
So, who did you train with in Gold's Gym then?
I had a couple of different training partners. I had a brother who was a really good training partner, Reed Worth. We prepped for the Mr. Los Angeles together.
And were these friends that you made over there when you were there?
I made a good number of friends. You know that there's lots of people go to LA from different places to live. You know that.
Yeah.
And it's just like a big family. I remember at one point when I was over there, I was thinking, man, you must be some kind of weirdo if you don't live this life, because the people I was communicating with and hanging about with, they were all of them were bodybuilders or power lifters you've seen the celebrities and the film actors and stuff, but it was like it really was the bodybuilding mecca.
It was,
and you could really fit in there quite easily. So I think initially I was quite what's the word I'm looking for? I just thought go on.
Not intimidated, but I know what you see. It's in all sort of
in awe,
yeah.
In awe. And initially I just thought, when you seen Big Gary, when you seen Mike Christian, Flex, he was just kind of coming up. Flex Wheeler and Chris Cormier.
I'm going to see Flex on next week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Flex is a good friend of mine. Yeah.
Aye. Wow.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, who did you see then? Who did you get to see in Gold's Gym? What bodybuilders did you get to meet?
The top pros that. Yeah, it's just mind blowing, isn't it? When you're seeing these guys only in the mags, and then they're there in front of you, so you're a bit shy, aren't you? Like, you're like, I can't introduce myself to this guy. He's a legend. He's a monster, So you tend to be quite humble and quite shy, and then you just kind of watch. But and after a wee while, I guess you kind of get used to training alongside the top bodybuilders, really. So there was Jim Quinn, Big Jim.
Jim Quinn, yes. He went
Yeah.
to the big shoulders, massive shoulders. Yeah. Jim Quinn, yeah. Robert, did you see Charles Glass training there?
Yeah. Used to see Charles all the time. I think he's still training.
Charles, I was there.
Yeah. Wow.
I was there 2014. I trained with Charles. I had a session with Charles, and Chris Cormier. But I think Chris Cormier, he didn't come into late, sort of early 1992, 93.
I'm not sure. I just remember Chris competing over there back then, and you get to see see these guys before they become.
Did you get to train with any of these pros?
Who did I train with over there? I probably didn't want to train with him, to be honest with you. The way they trained, I trained with Gary. He invited me to train back with him a couple of times. Lee Priest, I trained with Lee. I remember him teaching me. Well, Lee was a real laid back, easy going guy. He just showed up with his 20-odd-inch arms and straight up to Woodland Hills. Signed the contract. I think he was 3 times champion, national champion at that point, and it was straight away signed the contract. So I trained with Lee a couple of times.
Did you ever train with? Ever see Samir Benoot there?
Samir, yeah.
So I had Samir on my podcast a few weeks ago, and because I seen Samir in, he came over to the Arnold Classic last year in UK, so I bumped into him. But about 7 years ago, I brought Samir, Tom Platz, and Ed Corney to the UK for a tour. So I stayed with Samir. I stayed with touch with Samir since then. Aye. Yeah, crazy guy.
Yeah, I remember Samir back then as well. Yeah, just humble, down to earth. He's a Mr. Olympia, but just really humble.
Yeah,
really nice, really down to earth, really laid back. Just most of the guys are really,
definitely,
the best guys are humbled. Yeah.
So did you compete in America, or did you just train in goals? Did you get to compete?
I've done a couple of shows. I've done the Mr. Los Angeles middleweights. It was a good lineup. It's not an excuse. I mean, I came 4th in the middleweights. I was kind of happy with that. Yeah. But it's always better to win, isn't it, Si? And then
did you learn anything? From training in?
Yes, I did learn Si.
Surrounded by all these top pros, and you're going to pick up things.
Something happened over there, Si, to me. I had gone to see Phil Gogolia. His name was Gogolia. I think I had gone to see Phil to get dietary advice and contest prep advice. I'd gone when I was prepping for the Tournament of Champions. I got second in that show, which I think might have qualified me for the USA. But not, because I wasn't
a resident,
I wouldn't be able to compete in it anyway. So kind of, it was kind of time to come home when I did come home. But when I had gone to see this contest prep guru, that's what he was called. What I learned from that lesson, and I took it with me from then on ever after, was the things that he told me to do before the show were things that actually made me look worse than better. So I decided after I came home to Scotland in 1995, March, that's when I decided Stevie Creighton, I'll get Stevie Creighton ready for a show. And if I don't know my body after 10...
So was you there for 5? You were there for 5 years in America?
Yeah, 4 years and 3 months in total. So yeah.
So what did you do for money over there? Did you do like personal training? I mean, how did you survive over there?
Initially, I started working at a shopping mall. It was good because all bodybuilders who worked there, all the guys that come from different countries, were given work. Jobs. I was one of those graveyard shift. They'll say, they're on the light. They used to joke. The guys used to joke, like headbutting the walls because I couldn't sleep daytime. I used to do graveyard shift.
Body clocks all over the place.
I'm like, the sun, splitting the trees again, and I've got to go to sleep. And I used to not sleep hardly at all. And then I'd go into the graveyard shift, and all the guys would be joking and like that. Steve, try this, try taking this. And, they're all bodybuilders. So, like, no, I can't try anything, guys. I can't. I'm ready to cack up. So, I've done that for a while, Si. And I think I stopped working security about 3 or 4 weeks before the Mr. Los Angeles, my first show, because, I just needed that time to prepare properly.
Okay.
So I stopped working about 4 weeks out. And
was you said you had that contest guru that was helping you for the Los Angeles show?
Yeah. Phil Gagolia. He
and did he get you in good condition? You said the protocol he used before worked opposite, but leading up to the last week, because a week out, you know if you're in condition or not, don't you? You can. There's nothing magic that's going to happen the last week that's going to make a lean, a smooth body into a shredded body. So a week out, you're going to be lean or shredded.
It was just the things that the guy told me to do in the last parts of my preparation. Just they didn't work.
Do you want to talk about it?
Just
taking certain.
He had me eating far too much red meat. It was like 4 pounds of red meat a day.
Whilst on prep.
Before we started the pre-contest part, the off-season part, because I was going to see him for quite a while.
A lot of red. What was his reasoning behind that?
I'm not sure, but I'm not sure what his reasoning was, and I'm not even sure now when I think about it why I was even going to see him. It doesn't make any sense why I was going to see him.
Was there any other food, or was it just red? Was it just like a carnivore diet, just red meat? Was there any carbs?
He believed in high fat, high protein. So when you're stuffing yourself full of all this red meat, it doesn't kill me. You're reducing the carbs.
But calories are still calories, isn't they?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was going to him for advice, but some of his advice was so over the top. I was kind of doing half my own thing as well at that time.
Didn't you think to ask any of the the top Mr. Olympia competitors like Flex or Charles Glass?
Actually, I spoke to Flex one time. I spoke to the guys at the nutrition department. There's a guy named Steve. I think he got shot in Las Vegas. Really good guy. Gave me some great contest advice, and I took that home with me to Scotland, to the UK, and I prepped for all my shows, and I nailed my condition. Flex gave me good advice one time. I'd be getting this wee piece of paper after getting the caliper tests at different parts of your body. And I remember one particular week when I was really freaked out because I felt really hungry that week. I was using the mirror and I could see it was a lot harder. I knew I hadn't really sacrificed any muscle, but this piece of paper was telling me something completely different. Like you maybe lost a bit of muscle, you gained fat, and I'm like, and I was freaked out. This bit of paper.
Was it like one of the machines where it registers your body fat and muscle mass?
Yeah,
was it like a set of scales? Yeah, you know what? I did that. It plays your head. Yeah.
It was.
I used to use them. Yeah, and it said I was 30% body fat, like 6 weeks out, and it just.
I realised it was depending. It depends who takes. If it's a different person who takes use the calipers, you're going to get different measurements. So Flex, the advice Flex gave me was, and I took it after that. I kind of knew what he was saying was right anyway. He said, throw that piece of paper away. He said, just use the mirror, man. He said, So I mean, because I was so down, I shared it with him. I was like, I'm so much harder. And he said, throw it away and just use the mirror. And that's what, I did that afterwards. So
you came back to England, Scotland in '95, and you decided to sort of really go for it with your training and up the intensity and etc. So what was your next plans then, competing wise?
Yeah, I was hungry when I came back. So I was really hungry, really hungry. Yeah.
Let's go back a second. So why did you come back to Scotland? Did you have enough of?
I don't know if it's, we might get in the wrong kind of subject of a. Yeah, I didn't really have too much of a choice. Let's put it that way. But I'm going to share that at the right time in the right place. So
okay, yeah. You had to come back.
I didn't really have any option. Yeah.
Okay. So have you been back to the US since?
Not yet. Not yet. No.
That's something you plan on doing.
My wife's American, so
okay. Yeah, because you got married. Did you get married recently?
Yeah, 2019. Time flies. It's almost 3 years. It'll be
I got married 3 years ago as well. Exactly 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So we get married around about the same time, yeah?
Yes, 23rd of July 2019. I got married.
Wow, July. You were just before me then. Yeah, 2 months. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yes. So thank you. You too. Yeah. So back in '95, you came back from LA and hungry to sort of. Did you think I'm going to go for a pro card? I'm going to go win the British, or what was your thoughts?
I just wanted to do. It's funny because Achim Albrecht. I don't know if you remember the big German bodybuilder.
The German guy. Yeah.
He said to me when I was in LA, he said, "Stephen," because I knew him from Germany. He said, "Stephen, if you want to be a pro, go home, get your pro card." Come back.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that it was almost prophetical that what he said to me. So when I came home in '95, I thought, wow, I went over to Los Angeles because I love bodybuilding. And I would train among the top pros and got a bit sidetracked, let's just say.
Yeah.
And
a lot of distractions.
Yeah. Life can get choices, as well, not making the right choices. So I came back in '95 and I was really hungry to.
So you said you had no choice, you had to come back, but if you had the choice, would you have stayed there, or do you think it was the right time to come back?
Oh well, that's a question. That's wow. If I had the choice, I would have. I wouldn't have left Los Angeles if I had the choice. I mean, I loved the people I met, the lifestyle.
Because at that time, the mid '90s and bodybuilding in the Gold's Gym, I bet that was the golden
place
time.
To be, it was a place to be. But that's life. So I was really hungry. I was really hungry. I'd done a wee vacation before I came home. Lengthy one. Talk about that another time. And that made me really hungry. That made me real hungry. When you're in a place where, this is tough. Wow. You come home and you're hungry. I went to the LA for bodybuilding, and I come home and I was like, okay, let's do the bodybuilding now. So that's when I really decided to put everything I had into the sport, everything. Yeah.
I suppose coming back to Scotland, there's not got many distractions as training in Gold's Gym. So you're in obviously a lot smaller gym, and climate's different, and there's not much to do, just train.
Aye. Actually, it doesn't matter about the weather. It doesn't matter if it rains, if it's snowing, who cares? As long as we're getting to the gym and training hard. So there was no distractions as well, and I liked that. So I met a couple of guys had gone to a club that knew me from 1990, and they were training in a wee gym in Whitburn above a baker shop with creaky wooden floorboards. I mean, so it was just guys that trained at this gym. So they were like, "Yeah, Stevie, come and train at this gym with us." And it's a great gym. It's hardcore. So that's the wee gym in Whitburn that I went to.
What was it called? What's the
the guy had different spray, red. He called it. That's what I named my gym after when I opened my gym in Wishaw, the hardcore Hellhole, and it was a real. People wouldn't. I mean, I remember Giles Thomas went there and he thought I was joking when I took him to the gym that I trained at, but it was a good gym. I mean, it was heavy weight. We don't have fancy machines and stuff, really. Nothing fancy at all. Just hardcore stuff. You know, it was.
That's all you need, though, isn't it? People get too comfortable now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that gym still open now? Is it, or is it closed down?
Wally's Gym in Whitburn. I spoke to somebody recently, and they said it's just moved along somewhere else.
Okay.
So I'd like to, next time I'm driving out that way, I'd like to pop in and check it out. And, hopefully it's not lost all the hardcore feel that it had.